everybody. Welcome to the Front Door Show. This is DJ Prieto from Four Fantastic Events. And we do this every day, 8 o'clock, the Front Door Show. First, I want to make acknowledgement that everybody that's sending out condolences, thank you very much. I appreciate that. A lot of you guys sending out condolences. The Prieto family appreciates it. But onward with our show. Here we have DJ Hill. Did I say it right? uh, just to let you know that we have quite a different audience. It's not just all DJs. It's not everybody in the music industry. We got dancers. We got everything. So what I'm going to do is let you introduce yourself, say a little history. While you're doing that, I have another computer. I'm going to go ahead and start inviting everybody to create a watch party as well and stuff like that. So take it over. Who are you?
Oh my God, that's pressure right there, Prieto. Thank you, Prieto, for having me here. We've had the pleasure to, DJ together a couple of times in Chicago. I live in Indianapolis. My name is DJ Hill. I am from Colombia and born and raised in Colombia. Almost half of my life living here in the United States now. So I'm not gonna tell you how old I am because, but while Prieto does his thing over there, let me just tell you that I love music. I love my family. DJing is a pretty hard career per se when you love family and you love music, So I just have to throw that out there. And shout out to all my DJs watching, the ones who are gonna watch live and la repetición, because these are hard times for all of you guys, for all of the DJs, for all of the industry. So we want to mention that. We want to mention that a lot of DJs depend on that money weekly to survive, to feed their families. So we don't want to forget about all the DJs out there who are trying to make it happen right now through this pandemic. I have been doing a lot of things in my life. I started, my career was in teaching. That's what I went to college for. So big switch.
What were you teaching, if you don't mind me asking? What were you?
I graduated in Colombia, so my minor was in English. It was education. When I came here, I started teaching 5th grade, and then life changes. So I started DJing more and more, and then I became a promoter. I took over some clubs here in Indianapolis, and then we started with that. And recently I worked for Telemundo and a radio station here locally in Indianapolis. So that's a little bit of DJ Hill right there.
Well, I mean, coming and then shouts out to all the teachers out there as well, because that whole industry itself is was tough for them. And I know there's teachers, I got cousins and aunts and stuff like that are teachers, and they're very close to the kids and stuff like that. And teaching those kids, it's like an extended family. And I can understand how they are, feeling this whole situation as well,
And right now, not only to teachers, DJs, and essential workers, but also to the parents. We have a 6-year-old kid. And I used to be a teacher, and even though I used to be a teacher, I find it a little hard to have a 6-year-old at home every day, trying to do homework with her. And it's just amazing how you see that, a teacher can handle so many kids, and you appreciate that. And so, yeah, big shout out to everybody out there. It happened right now.
So I guess the first question I'm gonna ask is, when you were in Colombia, did you start DJing there, or when you came here? When was your first kind of doing it?
I started there. I started taking DJ classes there, and I loved it. I have always loved music. It's been my passion forever. So fun fact, I started DJing at my family's, reunions in December. How Latin Americans, we party hard in December, Navidades y todo eso. So I started DJing for my family. Everybody knew that I was going to play the music. No then when I reached the right age, I started taking classes with important DJs in the city, radio DJs. And then you know how sometimes our parents or our family, they kind of think that, you know, DJing could be bad for you. They so many people involve DJs, drugs, alcohol, everything in the same circle. It's
Right.
not true, but
I agree.
so I don't blame them, you know, because they want to protect you. So I had to step outside of that world for a little bit. Then when I came here to the United States, I did some gigs here, back in my town, Armenia, Quindío, Colombia. That's how my city. It's a small city, close to Cali, Colombia. And then I did some you know, DJ gigs over there. I did some appearances in the radio in La Mega, Armenia, and some other events. But then I kind of quit because of respect to my family and to their beliefs, which I understand now being a parent, that you want the best for your kids, you know.
Mhm.
Here to Indianapolis, it was just, I'm going to call it was a blessing, but it was also luck. One time, somebody just made a flyer with my name and my number, and the next day I was getting this call from a promoter, and then he was just asking me how much I charge for a night because one of the DJs was sick. I guess this is, you know, a lot of DJs could say that, you know, or a lot of soccer players, when the other one is injured, that's when they get to go to the field. That was my day, that was my month, and they called me, and I didn't even know how much I should charge. I didn't know anything about the industry here. You know, so I said yes. I said yes. The other DJ, the resident DJ, he loved my music, and he said that he wanted me to continue working. And then they offered me the residence of the place, and I started DJing every weekend ever since, except for the.
So what I was going to ask you is that, so what type of music when you came here were you playing, or what was your specialty per se in the music wise?
So being from Colombia, I have I'm gonna call it a little bit of an advantage. I can't talk about my country because that's where I was raised, but Colombians, we listen to everything, tangos, boleros, hip hop, electronic music, salsa, merengue. We know everything because we actually have no barriers. Whatever has rhythm in it, we dance it, we sing it. So I had that little advantage, and then I started to research more when I came here, a little bit more English music and a little bit more Mexican music, which was, we listen to a lot of Mexican songs in Colombia, but you know, there is another genres that we do not. So I had to do my research when I came here. But being from Colombia, it gave me a little bit of advantage in that, playing everything. In my city, Armenia, we used to have huge festivals of electronic music, house music.
Mhm.
So I knew a lot of house music when I came here. That's why I love Chicago so much, because
The vinyl.
I feel home there.
Yeah.
And the city itself, it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite cities.
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Indianapolis has a huge Mexican community, right? I mean, and
yeah.
and because my uncle lived out there for many, many years. And you from Colombia was kind of, I mean, not a lot of Colombians are in Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken. It's I mean, there's a pocket of them, but it's not like.
I mean, it depends. The thing is that Colombians, they love salsa. They love, we love our music. You know, we love our, like I said, we listen to everything. We enjoy everything.
Right.
But Colombians here don't go out as much. So when you go to a Latin party here, you will find mostly Mexican or Central Americans and a few Puerto Ricans, a few Colombians, a few Dominicans, but they all enjoy, you know. When I play some Mexican music, they all dance. So Colombian congregation here is limited, but there are a lot of Colombians. Don't you know?
No, no, I know, I'm just saying for in history.
Sorry, go
I,
ahead.
I'm just saying for history of Indianapolis. I know that it started off, and I can only go back in the 1980s that when my uncle was out there and I just seen the community. And then one of the club owners from Chicago, I used to own Tropicana de Cache, and then he opened a club out there called Tropicana. And he was doing tropical music here, and out there he's doing bandas and norteñas and stuff like that. Ruben Pazmino, so and just to give you an idea where the money was at per se, as far as Indianapolis is concerned.
Yes, yes. He was very involved with the radio station here too. In
Right.
fact, one of my first trips to Chicago to visit one very recognized DJ Mauricio in Chicago. That was the first time I met him. Was with Ruben. He took me because he wanted to show me how the scene looked in Chicago because he wanted to bring something similar here. But then I told him it is possible, but we can try, but it's a little different because Indianapolis is a smaller market, it's a smaller city, and we did a lot. We changed a lot, but still, Chicago is Chicago, and like
Agree.
like I said, I really enjoy going to dance in Chicago, going to DJ in Chicago, and so do I in Indianapolis. But it is a different market. It
Right.
is. We enjoy everything here.
Hill, can I tell you something?
Go ahead.
He tried to convince me to go out there too. Because I don't know if we created the Tuesday night boxing here at Tropicana and the boxing and stuff like that. So, since he opened the club out there, he would always try to tell me, come on, man, do what you did in Chicago and bring it to Indianapolis. And I knew that at the same time. I says, listen, if that was the case, don't you think I would be doing it in Chicago the way every market has a different, or every city has a different, especially a metropolis like Indianapolis.
Yes.
I almost consider it like, and nothing to say about the community in Indianapolis, but I always almost say that Indianapolis is like the Mexican music, bandas and norteñas and stuff like that. And I know all that scene here. Whereas like the tropical market for here, it grew bigger here in probably the last probably when the festival started, the Salsa Congress started, and all that stuff. It grew, but in Indianapolis, you don't have that yet. And
Yeah.
and I told them the same thing, Ruben. I says, listen, they are basically 6 years behind what we're doing, and that's in that growth of the tropical market. So I totally agree with you what you told him about different cities and stuff like that. I'm curious about your electronic music aspect of it, because in Colombia, and I do know they have the tech house, and that's where it's really big out there. EDM, tech house, and stuff like that. Even the Latin house is really big and stuff like that. And by the way, if you never heard Latin house and tech house, it's huge. It's worldwide. Trust me, it's woo. It's DJ Tiesto and all these famous DJs and stuff like that, and Van Helden and stuff, all these guys. And that is, you go to Ibiza for all that, music.
So in Colombia, well, if my parents are watching this, they're gonna learn this in your show. The first time, and I believe it was the only time that I went to a place without telling them, was because of a Tiesto concert in Cali. Like I said, if they didn't know this, sorry. But yes, it's 2 hours from my city, from Armenia, and a couple of friends, we planned and went there. It was one of the best concerts he had, because he had his stage was 360 in the middle of the field, and it has been one of the concerts that sold the most tickets in that stadium. So it's hard to say I don't like electronic music or house music. being from Colombia because we like everything, but you have to like it because some people are like, well, it's a beat 128 all the time, boom, boom, boom. No, it's not just that. So I enjoy going to those parties. I haven't been to Ibiza
Okay.
yet. I wanna go, but the electronic part in Colombia is it's so basic. You are born with an ear, let's say, and you listen to it, you enjoy it, and then a lot of DJs and producers in Colombia have injected the Colombian, the Caribbean flavor to that
Yep.
house
Yep.
music. Nowadays the guaracha music is so popular right now. Every DJ is trying to play it. It's just something different. It's just something that gives it a little bit more flavor. And not that house music doesn't have flavor. It's just that when you combine different things and like trompetas, timbales, different things to house music, it makes it more than perfect. It's just amazing what you can do with music.
Well, Gil, I'm hoping your parents will hear this and what you're saying about Tiesto, because as a DJ, and since you said about parents, and this is a message for all parents out there, do not discourage your kids because so excuse me, Gil, tell them how much Tiesto makes a year. What is it reported that he makes a year?
I have no clue, but I believe I cannot even count what
He makes six.
that everybody together in this Facebook Live
Yeah,
watching, we all combined will never make what
right.
he makes in a year. In
I
a
guess
whole,
Forbes said he made $6 million a year. That's what he makes a year.
not making money out of music only anymore.
Right.
He's a brand right now, and he's one of the older DJs that started all this movement. And to me, it's actually one respected DJ because he actually DJs. He actually puts in effort. I have seen so many EDM DJs just pushing, and they don't do what they are supposed to do.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm kind of bringing the point, because DJ isn't just like, and I've told the story before that there's prejudging of people that are DJs. They think we're that video guy on the beach with all the girls and the alcohol and the drugs, and it's wrong. This is a real career. This is an art. And I think that's one of the things that, and I'm glad that this shows people, because I know there's people that are listening that are not part of this industry, people that, and I'm seeing how many people are on here. And that's the message I want to make sure people understand, that this is an art form. This is, and I guess that's part of why I'm doing this, because you as an artist, me as an artist, I want to make sure the word gets out there that we're struggling artists at this point, in the sense that, we're with this whole thing. I mean, not that not everybody is struggling. We are all struggling, but in this form, you being that you come from Colombia, you come here and you interject your style, your flavor of your background. And it's part of that, the electronic music, it's the salsa, obviously everything else that we're gonna. And now let's fast forward to when you get here in Indianapolis, right? You start playing on the radio, start doing that. When do you become DJ Hill? I mean, when does that happen? When does that become like official?
Oh, that's a good question. I became DJ Hill. I think I've been DJ Hill always. I've always been DJ Hill. Just the passion for music, the passion to see people dancing to what you're playing, to see people smiling. That's something that you cannot really describe with words or say when it started to happen. I could say when it was that I started DJing, per se DJing in a weekly basis, which was in 2009, 2010.
Okay.
That I can say that I haven't had a free night or a free weekend. Going back to the part where you say that it's a career, I have missed a lot of opportunities to have, beautiful moments with my family. Recently, we celebrated New Year's Eve after like 7 or 8 years. You know, I couldn't celebrate New Year's. I was working because it's one of the best nights for DJs. If you're a DJ out there and you're not charging a lot on New Year's Eve, I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
But those are things that you have to think about. So I think that this passion for music and to DJ at a party or a private event or a concert, it has always been in my veins. Now, when I started to, when people started to know who DJ Hill was, I think it was my fault. It was because of me. It was because of all the doors that I knocked. It was because of all the steps that I took to get to know people, to get people to know me. All the flyers, all the little printed papers that I had to give to people so they will follow my Facebook or my Instagram. CDs, you know, every year I've been burning CDs, giving them to people in festivals, in Colombian festivals, in Dominican festivals, Mexican festivals. So I think that when I realized that people knew who DJ Hill was, then it made me realize that my hard work paid off more than being recognized or being known or famous or those words that I don't like. Is more recognizing the hard work that I've done for the community, DJing at church events or DJing for schools, and those are things that people say, well, but you're gonna do it for free, man. And how about all the equipment? But people don't know that that's an investment that you're doing. I've had people contacting me after 4 years telling me, hey, I saw you at this high school when you were DJing. They don't know I DJ for free, but they heard my music, and that's called exposure. So
Right.
I think that's when I realized that DJ Hill was known and that my hard work paid off, you know?
Well, I mean, that goes to that goes, and I guess that's what is really a testament to you, because you basically had to market yourself.
Yeah.
You had to, create the embodiment of DJ Gill. That's what you had to do. And I think that's a lesson that everybody has to, in anything they do. If you're a hairstylist, guess what? You got to make a name for yourself, per se, and stuff like that. But as a DJ, we also have so much competition out there. That's the plain fact, because it is as hard as it is. It's also easy as it is that people could become a DJ now with the technology and everything digital and stuff like that. So they're gonna. So the difference is that you and that other guy have the exact same hard drive, exact same music. But what makes you, your personality, is the way you put them together, and the way that just like a hairstylist with scissors. They both have scissors, but it's the way they cut it and the way they style it and stuff like that. That makes the biggest difference. And
It's a very, very good thing to say. Some DJs, I've gotten mad myself, and then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get mad because of that. But so many DJs, they don't share music, they don't share their skills. They don't share anything because they think that you're gonna copy. I don't think that you can copy another person. I don't think that you can copy another DJ. I think that you were born with some skills. God gave you those skills. You have to make them. You have to use them. You have to make it happen. So I don't care about sharing my music. Of course, nowadays you can buy music with better quality and everything. You're not gonna give away everything. You don't buy a computer to give it away next morning. No.
right, no,
I'm just saying it's for people who don't know this. The DJ industry is very complicated because there is so much hate sometimes. And I was reading this article, I think it was last week, where it said every DJ is criticizing the other DJ. The new DJs criticize the old DJs because they don't use the new skills. The old DJs are criticizing the new DJs because they use the sync button, because they look at a laptop and they don't carry the CDs. I used to play with cities. That's how I learned. That's how I started.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that was going to be my, you know.
So and so there is hate out there, and I know there is hate in every career. People want to be the best. People want to show themselves. But I guess when you start appreciating what others do, I think that's when you become a real person. That's when you become a professional in every career.
Well,
Like now with the Facebook Lives, every DJ is on Facebook Live.
yep.
And that's okay. We all have the same music, like you said. We all have different skills. We all have different way to approach people to make people stay watching your live. So it's okay. It's okay. Everybody's doing a live. Stop criticizing and enjoy.
Well, just to give it on a flip note, when I started this show, this is week 3.5, I think, week 3.5. I think I started on the 14th. I could be wrong, but I think it's the 14th. And I got maybe about 7 or 8 phone calls when they seen like the first 2 shows, and they see what I was doing. First thing they said, Angelo, let you know, there's about 20 other guys that are gonna do exactly the same thing that you're gonna do. And I've always been that kind of guy that's like, well, okay, let them do it. What's I don't care. But I will let them know that I was the first one, and that's probably the best way to do it. There's a saying that what do they call that? The best form of flattery is when people copy you and stuff like that. And I think, and I already seen it. I'm already seeing it. I seen people are doing this in different versions of it and stuff like that. And it's fine. I'm like, okay, what can I do? But for me, competition is good.
Yeah.
Because I always tell people, hey, how are you going to know what a bad hamburger tastes like unless you taste a bad hamburger? That's a fact.
So speaking of that, I wanted, I don't know if you have talked about this in other shows, but how do they call you there? The Tuesday Lord? What do they call you forever? And I myself, I want to take over right now, and I want to ask you that, because I do have that curiosity, and I want to know, you talked about so many years ago on Tuesdays, so it's not just 2019, 2020.
No.
How many years have you been on Tuesdays, man?
Well, I've been since Tuesday of the beginning of Latin music. So you're talking about 29 years of doing Tuesday, but it was Tuesdays of I actually started DJing on Tuesday over a place called Cairo. That was where I was DJing at. And then I created this thing called Tuesday Night Boxing. It was actually totally different. I wanted to go something completely different. So I did the Tuesday Night Boxing. And then after the boxing end of it, and it was like an 8-year span, then I did a Tuesday at Green Dolphin. That's where I started it there. And then obviously from Green Dolphin, then it went to Alhambra. So that's why Tuesday it's always been, but
for people who are watching from my page, that's how we met. We met on a Tuesday night. He brought me all the way from Indianapolis to Chicago. And if you didn't know, this guy packs that place. He puts in thousands of people on a Tuesday. I don't know how he does it.
Well, this is a simple fact. And I remember that was the discussion about doing Tuesday, because people did the same thing. You're automatic as a business owner. You're like, on a Tuesday? And I go, there's no competition on a Tuesday. That's the truth. On a Friday and Saturday, how many places are doing salsa, merengue, Latin, tropical, and stuff like that? Everybody. And especially now, I mean, we're not before 28 years ago, there was no competition, but even more so now because of the age that we're in. I honestly, there's 24 places doing a salsa merengue event on a Friday and Saturday. 28 places.
Chicago?
So in Chicago, yeah. There's a, and don't take this wrong, club owners, but one of the biggest issues I have is you think a salsa merengue night is a way to fix a quantity problem, meaning like, oh, I can't get a Friday or Saturday working, let's do a salsa night. I think it hurts the industry More so because what happens is that because there's so many choices as a regular customer that doesn't know anything about the salsa merengue market, right? But they know it's a salsa merengue night. If they walk into that place, and because there's 24 places doing salsa merengue, and that place only has 50 people, what are people going to believe a salsa night's like? It sucks because there's only 50 people there. That's, and I see owners do that. So what happens? Within 3 months, they dump it. And then the reputation comes that salsa doesn't make money. No, it makes money. I know that. On a Tuesday night, on a Wednesday night at the Drake, trust me, it makes money. But because owners think that a problem solving is to do Latin music, that's not the way it works. The way it works is you get like on a Tuesday, everybody knows, hey, that's the place, respect it, and you get everybody there. And that's really why Tuesday does what it does, because it's, whatever you want to call it, the Lord of Tuesday, whatever it is, but it's because there's no competition. And everybody, and on top of it, remember, you also have to have the owners and the place beautiful, dance floor, big and stuff like that. You gotta, and the live music as well, and everything else, involve the teachers, involve everybody, you involve everybody. That's why I brought you out, because I want to make sure that it's not just me pressing the button all the time. I got all these DJs, all these teachers, all these, musicians, all these artists coming in, because you want people to enjoy every aspect of.
And that's interesting, because when I got there, that's one of the few places that I've been very, very surprised with when I got there. Remember, I don't know if you remember, when I got there, I was looking everywhere. I was like a little child, lost in the city, because it was so huge and it was so beautiful. And that's another thing about us DJs. When we go to perform, I think that even if we have 10 people on the floor, or 1,000 people, or 10,000 people, we should perform the same. It should not matter. But that night, I was kind of getting nervous, because it is so hard to find in the United States nowadays a crowd that loves salsa music so much. I haven't seen a crowd that big dancing a salsa song with that passion in so many years. And the last time I saw that, before you brought me to Chicago, it was in a salsa concert, but that's different. It's a concert,
Right.
And we're talking about a Latin night on a Tuesday, and we have this amount of people dancing, sweating, and just enjoying and dancing with this, and so that's another difference. What you were talking about, it's very important. So many club owners, they just start making money, and that's all they care about, and they forget that the place needs to look beautiful. It needs to be clean. People also look, and then as the club starts dropping or starts changing or not improving their things, so do people. People start showing up not very well dressed. They don't care anymore, because you know what would I dress up? What would I do my hair? What would I do this if they're not even caring about their walls, their painting, their bathrooms? So it's very important, if club owners are listening to this, that they keep caring about their places, because it's not just an ATM where they can take money out of it. They should care about it, the presentation.
Well, my motto for everything I've done is quality first, quantity second. Once the quality is there, the quantity follow. Right? And that's really the magic of this happening. When I started doing Tuesday, that was the whole thing. Are we going to get a lot of people? Probably not. I was very honest about it. It's a Tuesday, probably not. But when somebody walks in, they're going to have that wow factor. And that's what made it grow. Honestly, that's what made it like the wow factor, because you have like when you walked in, wow. You know, everybody did the same thing. Everybody walks in. We always know my guys at my front door know who are the new people that walk up the door. Know how? They do this. Everyone, and we I got here's a newbie, and they do the whole touching the walls, touching the floor, touching everything, because we know. And then the second question we always know is, where's the bathroom at? That's how we know it's a new person. Or where's the bathroom at? So those are like the common things. And and even when I tell owners all the time, this. I can get the people in the door, but it's up to you guys to keep them coming back.
Yeah.
Because I will always get them in the door. But your place, your service, your servers, everything about it is the way to keep them coming back. And I think that's important in this industry, because and just not just the salsa industry, I think everywhere across the board, whether if it's salsa, whether if it's a hairstylist, and I keep going back to hairstyle, but I mean, restaurant or anything like that, man, they walk into your doors, you have one shot.
Yes.
Keep them. And obviously, we're doing our job. We're playing good music.
Amazing food, the best food in town. But if the waitresses or the waiter is a rude person, that attitude, that energy, the food doesn't even taste good, and you go home like, I won't go back there. And then, owners don't pay attention to that, but that's in every industry. Unfortunately, the DJ and promoter and music industry, we see more because it's easier. It's easier to judge. It's easier to see things because we are exposed every weekend to the people who are on the dance. They're looking at us. They're looking at the flyers. They're looking at the videos. They're looking at the promotion. They're always trying to find new ways to get in for free. They're trying to look for new ways to talk bad or good about a place, because if you think about it, that's the only thing that we have to do. For example, in winter, what do we do in winter here in the north side of the country? Nothing but eating and going out to dance. You know what I mean? So we are in the spotlight right there.
Well, since you mentioned that, I think for us, because we're looking at it, I know for a fact that if someone has a good time, 95% of the time they're telling somebody about it too. And so I've seen all the time, people come back with a friend, or no, this is the place I was talking about. I want to show you how great of a time it was. So that's your follow up or your build up and stuff like that. So if I think that if you always maintain that follow up the next person, that's how you're going to build your industry, and that all across the board, being it. But importantly, and it goes back to us, what we do, the music has to also beat the part, or should I say, you're not playing the same song all the time. You want to make sure that you're always fresh with it, bringing up new music as well as some music they never heard before, and it becomes like, oh, what was that? I never heard it. And trust me, that makes a big difference, because then of course people are Shazamming it, and then they can't find it. They're like, oh, I need to know what's the name of that song, and so forth and so on. Because
Well,
I know
as a chef, they throw all the ingredients on the table and they tell you, okay, do something with it. Good chefs will make you the best plate, tasteful, everything. But an average chef will be like, oh no, but I need to go to the store to buy more. And it's the same thing with a DJ, because you don't know what you're going to have in your night. So it could be 50 people or it could be 500 people, but you still gotta make those 50 people or 10 people or 5 people or 1,000 people dance, enjoy, and have the time of their lives, So it's just easy to think about it think about a chef. So I think there are a lot of things that you have to look at. For example, we already talked about the places and the owners caring about the places. Now we're talking about the music. I think that so many people think as a DJ as a person who just goes there, brings equipment or a laptop, opens the laptop and just waits until it's 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. in Chicago and goes home. That's not it. Actually, a good DJ, let's call it like that, a good DJ, not a DJ, but a good DJ is a person who really invests, and not only in equipment, but invest time researching new songs, good songs, because not all the new songs are good. You know, not all the salsas go together to blend them or mix them together to make you dance. They know when they should stop the song and go to the next one. There are a lot of different things that they need to realize that a DJ does before they say that the DJs are only button presser.
Well, I've been very fortunate. For me, I'm just talking about me personally, because I've never been a one DJ type of thing. I've always had many DJs work with me. That's why I created Los Cuatro Fantasticals, and then there was the DJ team, and then there was at one point there was 16 DJs, and one of my DJs, and I don't know if he's on, he might be on, is the DJ Eclipse. And one of the things he said he learned from me, that I was always like, when every DJ, I don't care who they are, they're like, I want a DJ from 11 o'clock until 1 o'clock, right? The hot time, right? The hot time. And I go, yeah, during that time when you got 700 people to 1,000 people in place, it's easy. You played the 6 hits and people will dance, no big deal. He goes, and he said he learned from me, because it was when there were only 10 people in the place, when we opened the doors from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And he goes, and I seen you get those 10 people up. There was nobody. He goes, that's where the magic happens. Because after those 10 people that showed up there from the first hour, those 25 other people that walked in the second half hour, and that's how you can maintain a night. Because I've seen, I don't gonna say who, but I've seen many places where I walked in at 11 o'clock and nobody's dancing, because they're not choosing the right music to play to a lesser crowd per se. They're playing the B-sides or like that. And he told me, he goes, dude, he goes, I learned from you that no matter what, 10 people there, you play like it was 1,000 people there. No matter what, you get them up dancing. And if that song didn't get them dancing, you get something that's going to get them dancing. And sure enough, 10 people up dancing, nobody's sitting down.
Well, as a promoter here in Indiana, I've hosted concerts, big events, little tiny events, or Latin nights. I believe that you don't need 10 DJs to make it happen. In fact, I think that having so many DJs is a mistake, and that's my personal and humble opinion, because for you to be a promoter or a DJ, you also have to be a client, a dancer. You have to love music. You cannot just say, oh, I'm going to open a night. I don't know anything about music, but I'm going to hire 2 DJs and they will run the night. I don't think that's how it works. You have to love and have passion for people and for the music. And for example, 3, 4, 5 DJs, different times, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1. I've seen people's comments saying that they play the same music, they play the same songs. Why? Because they didn't even hear the other DJ's set. When you're not there enjoying and listening to your DJ's friend's set, you don't know what to play. You don't know what the night, how the vibe is going, how everything is going up. You don't know anything about it because you just got to the place. So I believe strongly that a night should have maximum 3 DJs, and they should stay in place. I know that I know how the hassle is going to be after the pandemic, and even before. Everybody's going to try to get 2-3 places at a night and everything, just like so many DJs did before. But the point is to make that place where they are inviting you, make you feel home and make you feel safe, and play your best set, but knowing what other DJs are playing as well.
Well, Gil, just to clarify this, because I think maybe that's where so I'm talking before when I said about 16 DJs used to work for me, I used to have 3 DJs in every floor. We used to do 4 floors. So that's what I meant by 16 DJs. So, but you're absolutely right about limited 2 to 3 DJs per floor and stuff like that. And one of the things that I was very fortunate is that we all communicated with each other, meaning that we had the dance floor, the EDM floor. We had a reggaeton, bachata floor. Then we had Spanish rock, and then we had the hip hop, R&B, and stuff like that. So those are different floors, and every floor we kind of had 3 DJs. Same thing like when we did 720. I don't think you went to 720 ever, where we had the 4 different floors and stuff like that. When you have multiple rooms, I try to limit it to 2 or 3 DJs tops. Even when you were there, I don't know if you remember, before you were there, I think it was either me or one other DJ, then you, then my closing DJ as well. It was kind of that, and some guys are better closers than they are, and some guys, so you were my guest, and I know you live 3 hours away. So I said, no, man, we're going to have him come in right in the middle and be the hot spot, hot time and stuff like that. And I think that's where I even told you, I said, man, play whatever you want to play, because trust me, this crowd is going to enjoy it all. And we did it was the Colombian pre-party, if I'm not mistaken, that we did.
Yeah, it was
for the, so that was more important for me, because I want to make sure that we, like, the theme wise and stuff like that with the Ortega brothers and stuff, it was more the Colombian stuff. So I think that also helps as a promoter. You let people know what you're getting for the night. So guess what? Colombian pre-party, you're getting Colombian music. It's going to be I obviously, it's like, hey, it's an Italian restaurant. You're getting Italian food. That's what you're going to get. So you let people know. There's no surprises per se.
It was an amazing night. I remember it was an amazing night. I had so much fun. Like I said, not even 5 times in my life I've seen a crowd that big dancing to salsa music. I love salsa. That's another thing about me. I love house music, but my favorite salsa, because that's how I was raised. My dad, he used to have back then the cassette. He will tell me, hey, do me a favor and go record this song from the radio station with the cassette, and try not to get the the DJ talking or the commercials. And if I did it wrong, he will make me do it again and again and again. And I guess that's how I learned a lot about salsa, because I just love salsa,
Right. So what is it? So now what is your feeling as far as with the COVID? And I don't know how the situation is in Indianapolis, but I mean, probably pretty similar. But are you working daytime? Are you still working as a essential worker, or are you're done? You're home. What are you doing?
Right now, I'm staying at home.
Okay.
We had to start working from home. It has been difficult in Indiana. It is let's say it's a very divided state. So you have the people who really take care of themselves and think very liberal, and you have these people who are very conservative. It's we could say that it's a little mess. Everybody thinks so different, but yet everybody's trying to take care of themselves. As far as numbers, we are pretty much the same as Illinois. So many deaths, so many people who are in the hospital. how do I feel? I feel a little afraid. I feel a little scared about the reopening of the country in the next couple of weeks. Um, People should or will say, no, but you should be happy because the industry is gonna come back, slowly. But I think that something that this pandemic taught me is that I heard this from an artist. He said we have to, just like the essential workers that we thank every day, and we say, well, this is essential worker because he's a doctor, because he's a teacher. We have to start thinking about the essential things in life, and I really like what he said, because it's really easy to get confused when you have it all, when you have all your friends, when you have WhatsApp, when you can reach people through Facebook, when you can see what your friends or family are doing through Instagram. But right now, when you really cannot be close to them, is when you start realizing who is essential in your life, So I really like what he said, because he was talking about the essential hugs, the essential kisses, the essential people that you have in your life, the people that you have into your home, what you can call home. So I think after this pandemic, more than anything, even more than money itself, I think we need to realize that we were wasting so much time before, and we were not paying attention to the real stuff, which is family, close friends, and trying to spend more money, not more money, more time, and in things that matter, and thinking less about money, because at the end of the day, we could lose it all right here in the pandemic, but at the end of the day, you have your family with you, and that's what really matters. Like I said at the beginning, I'm a real fan, and very passionate about music, but also family. So I just think that after all this, we need to think very deeply, and it's not necessary to make a list, but just think deeply, and say who is who was there for you through these times, through these tough times, who was not there for you,
Right.
who keeps making excuses to reach out, who is there, who's helping you, who's trying to be with you, and who's trying to be family,
Well, what I was having a discussion yesterday with somebody, and we haven't talked about in the personal aspect of it, but I think there's going to be two train of thoughts when it comes to this. When the pandemic is done, or should I say when it reopens, there's two types of people that are going to experience this. Either you didn't lose anything, meaning like you didn't lose anyone close to you, you didn't get sick, everything's fine. So it's like walking out the door, right? Walking outside in the dark. Okay, two things can happen. You can get robbed or you can be safe, right? But anybody that's got robbed out in the dark, you're afraid to go out in the dark. And anybody safe, obviously you're going to stay cautious and you're going to look around and stuff like that. But the person who got robbed is always going to have that back in his mind that I can get robbed again. And I think it's the same thing with people that once this pandemic's open, anybody has lost a loved one, anybody that got sick or positive, they have a different aspect, a different outlook of what's next than somebody who never experienced that. They didn't experience loss and didn't experience, this is, and not to say like it's an inconvenience, but it doesn't affect the two people the same way. And I think that's what is really going to happen. I believe everybody has to side with caution. That's just the bottom line. I think that's like anything else. You go out in the dark, you got to be cautious. That's just the bottom line. But like I said, I know people who is affected, physically, affected emotionally, and people have died from this. They have a different outlook than what somebody who didn't. And I think that's what you're going to see, the split of a lot of people, because I'm sure, I don't care what your political beliefs are, if this affected you personally, you're going to have a different way of looking at it.
Of course, and it's like everything. I remember when my parents used to tell me, or not too long ago, that they said, when we were 20, when we were 15, we used to do a lot of more things because we only cared about us. Then when you have a kid, for example, talking about parents, it's different. Then now when you're going to jump out of a plane, a parachute, or something like that, you think about it, because you're like, what if something happens? It's not only me anymore. Or when
Yep.
you're taking care of your parents or older parents and they are at home waiting for you, maybe you don't do that crazy thing that you were about to do, or that you used to do when you were younger. So you're very right about that. When something knocks on your door, that's when you truly start believing it. I was one of the few people, or many people, I don't even know. At the beginning, I didn't believe in this. I was like, no, this cannot be real. It's just so weird how everything's happening. As numbers started to grow, I started to believe it a little bit more, but I still a little skeptical. Then I learned about some cases close to me. There is a DJ, one of the DJs that you interviewed a couple of weeks ago, DJ Luigi.
Yep.
He had it. I mean, it's just so weird how close you can be to it, and still doubting about all these things, because everything is so different and so complicated to understand. And believe me, I don't wanna get into that, because we'll be here all night talking about the.
So I mean, that's and I guess that's where us as the industry, and I have to bring it up with everybody that I talk to, is that I'm asking opinions, and I know we don't know for sure. I'm asking opinion, because there's two train of thoughts. It's gonna explode like the St. Patrick's Day, like everybody going out, and then there's gonna be people like, no, I'm not coming out. Those are the two. We don't know what's gonna happen, but I mean, I think we all have to be responsible. We don't want to get our loved ones sick. That's number one. We don't want to bring it back home with us, whatever it is. And and I know for a fact, and this was like in the beginning, same thing. I had guys that asked me the same question, the close group of guys that asked me, do you know anybody that has it? I don't know nobody personally had it. That was like the first thing. Now we all kind of know somebody who has it, or somebody infected and stuff like that. And then, like I said, some of us have it affected it differently. Some people who had got it, they're sick for 2 days. There's some people who are brought in the hospital. So it's a real unknown as far as what's going to happen.
Problem, per se, is going to be financially for so many people. Other than that, other than people who really got sick or who lost a loved one, I think this is going to help people understand the value of life. There are so many parents that didn't know their kids. There's so many parents that didn't even see their kids because of the schedule they had at work. So many people work 3 jobs. They barely saw their kids during the weekend, and if they saw their kids, they were tired and they couldn't even keep up with the kids' energy. They didn't play with their kids. Now they have to be their kids' teachers. Now they have to play with their kids every single day. So it has a positive impact in so many ways. Now I'm not saying that it's good, because we know how many people have lost their lives, and also financially is going to be very, very complicated to go back to normal, to go back to being stable, let's say.
So yeah, I agree with you. You are probably in the same boat that I'm in as a promoter. I get everybody asking me, man, when are we going to start this again? When are we going to start again? I mean, we're going stir crazy in our homes and stuff like that. And I'm talk to owners. I talk to venue owners and stuff like that. Unfortunately, there's going to be some places that are going to close down. Some places are going to stay open. That's just life. all across the board. I think I honestly believe that people who are, I should say, smart and calm and don't freak out, I think they're the ones that are gonna benefit from all this.
Yeah.
Because, there's a right way and a wrong way of handling this, and there's a right way and wrong way, I believe that we're gonna be having gloves and masks at the places, we're gonna have hand sanitizers, that's gonna be a norm. I think it's a psychological war we're gonna fight now, going forward, because to convince people, and a perfect example, and I'm gonna say this to you, and the smoking ban happened here, what, about 5 years ago? I don't know when the smoking ban here happened in Indianapolis, but just to give you a perfect example, what I mean by the psychological, we all know secondhand smoking killed people, right? And that didn't stop people from coming in the club, did it? Because when they were smoking, it didn't stop people from coming in the club. People knew the risk. People also knew smoking is a risk. Studies show it kills. That's the word card. But that's your personal decision to take that risk, whatever it is. And not to say dancing is a vice or anything like that, but for some people it is. But I think that's going to be part of the psychology of people wanting to go out dancing and do it, go into the nightclubs. They got to get over that. Oh, okay, am I risking my life walking into a place? Or is it just really like, if I don't take these precautions, I'll be okay? Those are kind of the things that I think people are going to have to figure out when it comes to reopening the events again.
Well, I mean, you have a very good point over there, and it's just to give you an example. This is when, like, the couple has been together for 2-3 years, and they start going to family reunions. They start asking, hey, so when are you guys going to have a kid? When are you guys going to get married? Those are the uncomfortable questions that people are going to be asking promoters or known DJs for the next couple of weeks. So I know you can agree with this 100%, being a DJ, but also being a promoter. You cannot please everybody. Even if you don't agree, even if you didn't agree with me right now, I know you do, but even if you didn't, I would still say you cannot please everybody. If you play salsa, they're gonna go request bachata. If you play bachata, they go and request cumbia. And I've had
Story
some
of my life.
cases that when I've been playing reggaeton, they go ask me for reggaeton, and I'm like, I'm playing reggaeton. So those are the things that we're going to have to deal with for the next couple of weeks. And the important part of this is my recommendation, what I'm going to do and what I'm going to recommend to all the promoters and DJs is you have to do what you think is best. Why? If you start listening to people on when to open up the place or open back the place, you're never going to open it, because there is always be a person, a skeptical person, who is going to scare the rest and tell them not to go out anymore. I'm trying to stay away from Facebook, only posting things, but not too much reading on Facebook, because you see all these opinions and then you get crazy. It's like fake news. When you see CNN talking about this, but then Fox talks about a whole different thing, you're like, who do I believe? So if you start reading all these posts on Facebook from people who go to your parties and they're like, I'm never going out again. I'm never going to a dance from a stranger, and things like that, then you get scared. You're like, well, we're never going to open back business again this year or in 2-3 years. That's not true. People eventually, they're gonna go out, they're gonna enjoy. People miss being around people. People, if you see when you start the night, even in a quinceañera, a wedding, a line party, any type of party, you see the first couple goes out to the dance floor, and then the second one goes, and then the third one. But it is not until that first couple goes out to dance that the rest start dancing. And
Right.
that works in every aspect of the life. There's always a person who has to break the ice and, take the first step. And that's how it's going to be. Now, I am not being irresponsible. I'm not saying that we're not going to take the precautions or things like that. But I think that we cannot start listening to everybody. Just like the government, just like the health department, just like anybody who has the power to open or close something, they don't listen to people. If we go on Facebook and say, okay, we're gonna vote, who wants us to open back the nightclub next Saturday? Everybody's gonna hate you. And 80% of those people who made bad comments about you, oh my God, Healy's gonna open back the nightclub. How is it possible? He's so irresponsible. Not 80, probably 60% of those are going to show up because they miss it, because they want to go out, because they miss seeing people, but they're just not going to say it out loud. They're going to eventually start coming out. So my advice is don't listen to people, not because you don't respect people. It's because if you listen to so many people, you're gonna get crazy and you're not going to end up doing anything. So just follow the rules, follow the whatever the government is
the guidelines.
and
Yeah.
and the protocol, the safety protocols that they are requiring.
Mhm.
Of course, we're going to have to be more careful. I don't know about the gloves. I don't know about the masks. I don't know about anything. I don't know how is it gonna be. I cannot picture myself with 300 people dancing with gloves and masks.
I know.
But if we have to do it, believe me, people will do it because people
Yeah.
miss dancing with people. So it is very difficult to be on one side of the story.
Right.
So I just let that out there to people who follow me, who follow you. Do what you think is best for you and for your family. We're not going to force people to go out. I am not going to do it. I know your ethics, and I know that you won't either. But we also miss people. We also miss making you dance. So at the moment that it is right to go back out again to the clubs, we're gonna be waiting for you.
And honestly, that's why that's why I don't like live streaming mixing, because I rather do it in front of people. That's honestly the truth. I've done it, but honestly, I love doing it in front of people, and to have that reaction is what we love to do.
Exactly.
As a promoter, you love to see people happy. That's what we love to do. And I think that's kind of what everybody likes. That's why they go out dancing, because they want that interaction. And and if you're going to be afraid of interacting for the rest of your life, you ain't living. I mean, that's it.
Think about it. Kids are going to have to go back to school at some point. They're going to be gathering to, it's just, this is happening right now, but this cannot stay like this forever. So
Right.
Now is not the time to rush things up. Now is not the time to tell you next week we're going to be open. Who knows when are we going to really open? But you have to stay, people who really want to go out, they have to be patient. And people who say that they will never go out, they have to calm down a little bit, because believe me, you will at some point.
Well, that's the end of our show. I hope you had fun. Any last words you want to say to people? I mean, for the followers and people who've been watching?
Yes, I mean, if you enjoy music and if you enjoy craziness and good stories and stuff, I do have an Instagram page. It's at I am DJ Hill. I also have a SoundCloud page where you can find all my mixes. It's soundcloud.com/I am DJ Hill. You tag me in the Facebook description and everything, so you can find me there, Harry Ruiz Hill. And thank you so much, bro, for bringing me to your show, and hope to see you soon in Chicago. hope to share a DJ booth with you pretty soon again and play some good sounds on those crazy Tuesday nights.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. Don't go anywhere, Gil. I'll be right back with you. All right.